when you have a look in, as you alluded to, that, well, how can you have the perfection of heaven and see the imperfection of earth? I've always struggled with, how do I arrive in heaven expecting or hoping, I should say, to see certain people there, and then I realize they're not there. And then also, the regret that will come with having eternal perspective and a different set of eyes, and realize I missed it in some ways. In the big way, I got it. But in some other ways, boy, I missed it. How do you deal with the regret or the pain over not seeing a loved one, and yet still deal with the perfection, if you will, of heaven? What does Scripture say about that, or how do you reconcile that?
Yeah, I think the main thing that we should do in that regard is to say, look, we're by definition, we're talking about this here down on earth, and what it means is we still have opportunity to do something for the many loved ones that are still alive, and the friends and the neighbors. And so I think it should inspire us to do what we can to close the gap between what we're actually doing and what one day we will wish we would have done. And I think the answer is to get an eternal perspective now that says, look, we're not going to spend eternity mourning. We are going to spend eternity rejoicing. But at the same time, we need to realize that Scripture says we're going to stand before the judgment seat of Christ, and God does care how we live. He does care whether we share the gospel with people. And it doesn't mean we have to be uptight and paranoid all the time. One of the things Nancy and I talk about is, look, you pray for the right opportunity to share with someone. If you feel like that opportunity didn't arise, you pray for them. You pray that their souls, that you pray that God would do a work of grace in his heart. We can't do it. There's nothing you and I can do other than be God's messengers and share with them and love them and reach out to them. But I would say, don't live life with an anticipation of how bad you're going to feel because you didn't share the Lord, because you didn't give generously, because you didn't treat people right. No, look at those and say, this is my opportunity to treat people right, to give the way I should, and to share the gospel, and take that perspective.